Ready, Brian? The important person's ready, we can go now. Well, we'll call the Truth and Taxation meeting of December 1st, 2015 to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance again?
Yep.
There we go.
We
haven't said it for a few hours.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll start with the introductions. Myself, I'm Michael Potter, Chair of the Board. Speaking in order.
Pat Swatsky.
Chris Hewsome, County Board.
Lee Kelly, County Coordinator.
Susan Backus, Administration.
I'm Mark Delayden. Congratulations.
Charlie Burrell, County Commissioner, District 5.
So now with that all out of the way, so now hopefully there's a test at the end, so we're going to see if you're paying attention here.
Something that's strange about the word.
Guidelines for the meeting, just audience participation.
Yeah.
Right at this current time, we have nobody in the audience, but the audience participation limit comments to 3 minutes. You need to go to the podium, state your name and address for the record. You'll be commenting on the 2016 budget certified levy to be heard. You'll be heard once, and everybody will get a chance before you get to be heard again. And at the top of every hour, there'll be a 15-minute break. The likes of it now, I'm not sure if we're going to get there. Mr. Hevela, would you like to start with the...
Commissioner Potter, please go ahead and take off the video.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had some discussions at our budget period about a good resource that we could maybe show about property taxes and why they may go up or down. A couple years ago, Association of Minnesota Counties, jointly with the League of Minnesota Cities, put together a video, 14 reasons property taxes can go up or down. So if you would allow it, we'll show it at this time.
Coordinator Kelly, will this show up on our live stream?
Yes, it will.
Okay.
It's a direct feed, right, now?
Correct.
I forgot we're live streamed.
So we can
Property taxes. To the average person, they're a mystery. You expect them to go up, and sometimes they do. Other times they go down with seemingly no reason. What's the explanation? Turns out there are 14 important answers, 14 reasons why property taxes go up and down.
We Minnesotans love our homes, but that pride of ownership comes with a price, the annual property tax bill. I'm Colleen Needles. We know that our tax bill is somehow related to the value of our homes, but that doesn't explain why our tax bill can go up or down from year to year.
In fact, Minnesota may have the most complicated property tax system in the nation, with more than 20 classifications of residential, commercial, agricultural, and recreational property. So don't feel bad if you don't understand how it all works. It helps if you think of property tax rates as a balancing act. Property owners each pay a share of the total cost of local government, including your city or township, your school district, and your county. Add in things like school referendums, and more money is needed, and your taxes can go up. But there is much more to the equation. At least 14 reasons your property taxes may go up or down. Reason number 1, if the market value of your property changes, it can change your share of the total bill, but this is just one piece of the puzzle. Each property in Minnesota is reviewed every 5 years, and if your property value has fallen, you may pay less. However, if you add an addition or make other improvements, expect to pay more. Also, your home is an asset that can increase or decrease depending on the market forces in your community. Sometimes your assessment goes up or down simply because your property value is compared to other similar properties in your area. Of course, you have the right to appeal your assessment. The market value of other properties in your taxing district can also affect your tax bill, and that's reason number 2. If most other homes in your area go up in value and yours does not, your tax may go down. If new homes have been built in your district, that increases the tax base and could also lower your share of the total tax bill. However, new homes require infrastructure improvements like streets, curbs, and most importantly, new schools. And those costs can offset increased tax revenues that the new homes generate. Market value certainly affects property taxes, but so does the cost of government. Our property tax dollars go to pay for direct services in our communities, things like road repair, schools, and yes, even our police and county sheriff. The levy is the term used to describe the total property tax collected annually by each unit of local government. For instance, in cities and townships, the budget reflects the needs and wants of residents and pays for services such as police, fire protection, public works, parks, and other services. If citizens want nicer parks, the levy goes up to pay for improvements. If city leaders cut back the number of city workers, the levy goes down. Such changes can make your tax bill go up and down. The state also plays a role in the levying of property taxes. Each year, the state legislature sets a dollar amount to be collected using the state general property tax levy. If you own a commercial, industrial property or a seasonal recreational property, the property taxes you pay will be directly affected by this legislative decision. The state general property tax levy is reason number 3 why your property taxes may go up or down. Reason number 4, the city budget and levy may change. Reason number 5, for those who live in more rural communities, the township budget and levy may change. And reason number 6, the county budget and levy may change. But it's a bit more complicated than that. Part of each local government budget is based on the changing needs and wants of residents. For instance, building new parks or funding projects like the County Historical Society. That's called discretionary spending, and the decisions are made locally. However, cities and counties must also pay for mandates and decisions made by federal and state governments and the courts. School districts must access additional funds for these mandates through a voter-approved operating referendum. Non-discretionary spending includes social services, tax collection, and solid waste management. None of these mandates are local decisions, and all can change from year to year. The other big component of your property tax bill, and reason number 7, the school district budget and levy may change. The state legislature sets the General Education Foundation formula for schools so that it's consistent from school district to school district. However, the local school district can set their own levy for many services such as safe schools and community education. When those levies change, they can make your property tax bill go up or down. School districts can access additional operating funds through voter-approved school district operating referendums. In many areas of Minnesota, there are special taxing districts for major public assets, such as watersheds and drainage areas. When a special district's budget and levy change, your property taxes can go up or down, and that's reason number 8. There are other ways that a change in local spending can affect your tax bill. Reason number 9, while not technically a tax, special assessments may have been added to your tax bill. Typically, it means new water lines, curb and gutter, and street overlays serving your property, benefiting you directly. You are also billed directly, and it's usually divided up over a number of years. Sometimes you and your neighbors vote to voluntarily raise property taxes in a referendum. That's reason number 10. The referendum allows schools, cities, townships, or counties to exceed their levies for major construction, projects like a new school, courthouse, sewer system, or other public projects. You'll pay extra, usually based on your market value. As stated earlier, mandates from state and federal lawmakers and courts also impact local taxes. Decisions made at the state capitol can hit you where you live. In fact, between 60 and 85% of what your local county does on a daily basis is the result of such mandates. One small example, the state of Minnesota has told all its counties that it's their responsibility to pay the cost of state prisoners housed in county jails. The federal government tells counties to collect child support payments, and it tells cities and school districts to provide access to all public buildings for people with disabilities. There are many more. Changing mandates make up reason number 11 of why your property tax bills go up or down. State and federal lawmakers also affect local property taxes by changing the amount of aid sent to local units of government. Examples of intergovernmental aid are local government aid, county program aid, and market value credit aid, and more. A significant percentage of the money spent by local government comes from the state and federal governments. Reason number 12. When the level of that aid in the form of grants and other payments changes, it can cause property taxes to go up or down. The state legislature also sets the share of the tax burden for all the classes of property mentioned earlier. Reason number 13. If the legislature decides to change the relative share of the tax burden of those properties by altering the classification rates, that can raise or lower your property taxes. In many cases, the legislature has provided funding to offset those tax burden shifts. The final reason that your property taxes can go up or down also involves our state lawmakers. Sometimes they pass laws that affect a community's local tax base, perhaps affecting how much you pay. Two examples are limited market value and metropolitan fiscal disparities. Reason number 14, changes in laws that affect your local tax base. We've learned that the value of your home and the homes around it, and any changes in them, can affect your property taxes. We've learned that the spending of cities and townships, counties, school districts, special taxing districts, and referendums have a huge impact on our property tax bills. We've learned that the actions of our state and federal lawmakers and courts can land on our doorstep when it's time to pay the bill. And there's one more thing we should know. All of these different factors are constantly changing and interacting. Increases in some parts of your property tax bill can offset decreases in others. That's why your mayor may tell you he or she cut city property taxes, but your overall bill still goes up. Sometimes we get lucky, and several factors go down in a single year, and our property tax bill is actually lower. The important thing to remember is that Minnesota's property tax system, as complicated as it is designed to divide up the cost of all the government services we've come to expect.
Some of the decisions affecting your property taxes are made by you and your neighbors. Some decisions are made at the state capitol, and others are made as far away as Washington, D.C. They all add up to the 14 reasons why your property taxes can go up and down. I'm Colleen Needles.
This presentation is brought to you through the cooperation of the Minnesota School Boards Association, the League of Minnesota Cities, and the Association of Minnesota Counties.
Now that we have a couple audience members, we go back through the guidelines of the meeting just so it's clear. Audience participants are requested to limit their comments to 3 minutes. And please go to the podium, which is over here, state your name and address for the record. And any person wishing to comment on 2016 budget certified levy will be heard initially before, and everybody gets to be heard first before you get to go back up a second time. And one, I'm not sure if that's going to pertain here, but there will be a 15-minute break at the top of every hour. With that, Bob, are you ready?
Good evening, board. Good evening, members of the public here. Tonight's meeting is all about the county's budget, the operating budget and then the levy. On the second page of the handout, I just wanted to bring everybody's attention to what it is that has happened and what we're doing tonight. So everybody should have received a proposed tax statement. That's on page 3. But before that statement could be mailed out, staff in my office have collected levies from all taxing districts, and we put them into our tax program. The assessor has done an assessed value of every property and a classification of every property. There's a computation of what those two combine into being a tax capacity. So we ended up, out of all everybody's individual capacities, we divide the levies by the capacity to come up with the tax rate. So on page 3, that is a proposed tax statement. In this particular case, the estimated value of this property went from $125,000 to $150,000, and it changed from non-homestead to homestead. So when I went to homestead, it had a homestead exclusion value instead of a homestead credit from way back when. Then down below, you have the state general tax. This is not industrial, so it doesn't have a state general tax, but it has a county, a city, and a school district. Each of those taxes are listed out separately. When we were reviewing this with the board, we did identify just how complicated Minnesota taxes are. So the board had requested that we put into this packet just a brief summary of all the different class rates that are out there. So for example, if you homestead your property, 1% of the first 500,000 is used for capacity. Anything above 500,000 is at a rate of 1.25. And so on are all the different classes.
Bob, when did that go up so drastically? Because I can remember when that first 1% was only up to like $72,000.
Board, that did change a while ago. I think that changed when the homestead credit went away also.
Okay.
So then, kind of skipping back to a few pages, I'll just draw your quick attention to, it is a page that has the colored graphs on it. I apologize, the one on the web is numbered, Commissioner Deline. The handout that we have for tonight is not numbered. But I'll just draw attention to everybody that the tax rate, if you take the county's operating levy divided by the capacity for 2016, our tax rate went from 40.593% down to 39.946. So we actually had a reduction in our tax rate. Individual property owners may have an increase in their taxes, and that's due to those combinations of market values and classification changes. So all that has gone on up until this point, and that's how you should read your property tax statement. If there's any questions on how to read your property tax statement?
Mr. Chair. Bob, so, but our tax rate went down, but we are actually levying more money. Is that because the valuation of the county went up? Is that where that comes in? Or?
Commissioner Barella, it's a fair point. In reality, what happened is our capacity went up. Our capacity went up because of values,
Yeah.
and also the change in classification of properties.
Got it, okay. So that was two of the 14.
2 of the 14 reasons, so.
Okay, but the amount of the levy that we actually, the amount of dollars that we're levying went up, I mean, very small. What was it, about 4%?
Commissioner and members here, you'll see that our levy went from 52,959,811 to 55,432,065.
And what page is that on?
That is,
Page 9.
Right here.
4.58%. Sorry, they're not number pages, but.
Yeah, it'd been nice if they were numbered. It'd been easy for you to find.
I thought Bob was going to number these.
And Commissioners, the one on the website is numbered, so. I believe that was, Lee, do you have that percentage?
Excuse me, I missed.
The levy increase was
4.67%
.67.
as presented in preliminary levy in September.
But here it shows 4.58%.
Commissioners, since September, you had made very small adjustments. So we put the resolution that you had passed in September, but in the working drafts, we do have some small minor adjustments, which lowered our levy. So before I pass it on, are there any questions on reading the property tax statements? Hearing none, I'll turn it over to Lee to talk about the operating budget.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you, board, members of the public for coming, and those of us that are watching us at home. We kind of jumped around a little bit there talking about levy, but I'll speak briefly about the budget. Of course, the board's familiar with the process. We started this back in June with some preliminary work. Departments submitted their request to the board. End of July, over the period of August through November, we've had 11 different days of budget meetings where the departments would come in and present their requests, the revenues and the expenditures to their department. Looked at each of those budgets line by line. It's kind of a very time-intensive but very thorough process. So what we have today is kind of one of the final steps in the process. We are required statutorily to hold a meeting at this time of the year. So that's the opportunity for the public to comment. We did adopt a preliminary budget at the September 22nd meeting, which is the handout that was just referenced. It's about the ninth page in your packet that was handed out this evening. That resolution that was adopted on September 22nd, our budget is increasing approximately 4%, from $106,014,185 to $110,309,723. Within that budget, there are three major funds: General Revenue Fund, Road and Bridge, and Health and Human Services. You will see reflected on that document on page 9 also debt service, which is repayment of the bonds that the county has issued over time, and LIDs, which are the Lake Improvement District. Following that page 9, there are a couple documents. The following page gives an overview of the departmental changes and requests that were done throughout the budget process. The following graphs are kind of a nice breakdown in a picture form of where our money is collected from, which Bob will talk about here in a little bit with the levy, but also where it goes and how the money is spent. And I guess with that, maybe I'll turn it back over to Bob if he wants to talk about the levy, or if there are specific questions with the budget. That was a very, very quick overview.
Board, I'll go back to that departmental page that lists every single one of our departments. On here, we identify what is the operating budget, and then we also identified the operating revenues that we take in from charges from services, grants that we would apply for. So to come up to our levy, we take the operating budget, we minus the operating revenues. So in this case, our operating levy, which is net of any county program aids that we would receive, is $55,432,065. Again, there were some minor adjustments we've made at a meeting subsequent to the September meeting, so that the final resolution presented to you in December will be less than that very small amount. So from this meeting, we can only lower the levy.
Just to be clear for the audience, it can only go down, it can't go up.
Right.
Commissioner Brown.
Bob, on page 9, well, my page, I numbered it myself.
Okay.
Charlie's page 9.
It's the one right.
Departmental page.
There you go.
Yep.
Okay. Right below the header, in the section marked revenues, for revenues, instead of saying department requests, it maybe should say like department, proposed revenue or estimated revenues, or,
Sure.
because they're not really requesting a revenue, right?
Well, Commissioners, when they're asking for their operating budget, it is a request. But sure, we could label the revenues as departmental proposed revenues.
Or department estimated revenues.
Right.
Whatever.
So again, this document shows how the department presented their budgets and then the adjustments you made during our budget sessions.
Okay. So now, and this is just my question, and I wish the sheriff was here tonight, but if we took a county like, Meeker, McLeod, somebody that doesn't contract so much with the cities, Sherburne, what does it cost to run their sheriffs? Because, we have the revenue that we generate from the cities. That's why we claim we have such a big sheriff's department, because we have all these contracts. But if they're not paying their way, maybe we shouldn't be doing that, because when you net it out after the revenues, what is it, about 7 million in revenues and then 19 million or whatever in expenses, $11 million, I'm like, I wonder what Sherburne's sheriff department or McLeod's or Meeker's or, it'd just be something, I guess I'd
Sure.
like to
Commissioners,
look
we don't
at.
have that statistic
No.
now. We'd actually probably want to see their number after truth and taxation.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because it really should, I mean, based on population or geographic area or whatever, we should be in the ballpark after taking in the revenues from the cities. We shouldn't be losing money doing that.
No.
Much like we talked with the assessors, we do assessing for some of the townships and cities, we shouldn't be losing money doing
But
that.
that's-
We should get it close to as even as we can.
We should, and that's a discussion for a different
Yeah,
meeting
yeah.
besides this one, but that is a good question to
Okay.
bring up, is making sure that they were charging the appropriate amount for the service we're providing.
And
I'm done.
Mr. Chair, I know that they take in a lot of factors when they're determining that, so it should be pretty
Yeah.
close,
I think it's a lot closer than it used to be.
yeah.
Okay,
You know,
thank
this-
you.
Commissioners, the state auditors does have a website where they rank counties in expenditures per capita, and one of those categories, I believe, is public safety. The sheriff's office would be part of our public safety. So we could make a comparison. I'm not saying that it's a apple for apple, but it is a comparison that we can make.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. With that, time for public comment. Anybody from the public who wishes to comment on the budget or the process, please step forward to the podium.
Stop swimming first.
Excuse me?
You gotta stop swimming first.
Too much information too quickly?
Well, yeah, just slightly. I mean, and it's so vague.
Don't be shy, we're really nice people.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by vague? But actually, yeah, we better have you come up here.
We need
Let's
to
have a
you come up to the
discussion.
podium. We need to have you come up to the podium. State your name and your address for the record.
My name is Catherine Schulte, and I live at 2912 Mitchell Avenue Northwest in Annandale.
But let's have a discussion. How can we make it easier for people to understand?
Pages being numbered would have certainly been easier, because I was just trying to scramble to where you were to begin with, to even understand what you were talking about, and then you were on to something else when I found the page. I mean, you know, let's just try to make it as accommodating for the public as possible, seeing we are paying you. You know, that, I'm an accountant, and I'm having a hard time understanding some of this. So, given that, you know, when I look at some of this, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. First of all, his comment's very valid. How do you request a revenue? Don't they just create revenue? Don't they receive revenue?
Yeah, I
Right.
believe it was just a spreadsheet.
I just think it would be a better word. I just think it would be better to.
But if
say-
they're having requests of revenue for X amount and their expenses exceed that by triple and quadrupled, I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well,
How can you-
that's government though.
But that's ridiculous, that's absurd. I can only spend what I take in. I don't get to request, oh, I'm sorry, employer, I want 3 times more my
Mr. Chair,
income.
I'm going to try this one, because let's just say the sheriff didn't have any revenue, because we contract with some of the cities, so the cities pay us so many dollars for each hour of protection
That
that
makes
they do. If we didn't have any revenue at all, then they would be just coming in and asking for money to operate, but they actually generate some revenue. It doesn't mean the revenue that we give them, it's revenue that was raised outside of the county.
I know, but
Okay.
the requested expenses
That's one of the ones that we go
is
through.
much higher than what any of the money coming in is, if I'm looking at this, even remotely looking at this correct. So, and again, I do books, that's what I do for a living, and this just is so convoluted, it's the best word I can come up with.
Okay, but my point was, let's say we had a sheriff's department that had no revenue at all, and let's say it was a county that's similar size to us, and they came in and said, we want $11 million to run our sheriff's department for the year.
You're looking at the net there.
And there'd be no revenue at all, and that's my point. I said, if we have contracts with these cities, it should equal what our costs are. So then, let's say we had just $11 million of the county right next to us, and they did not contract with cities, but now we do, and now it costs us $19 million to run our department because we have extra officers and do extra cars and everything. So then we should be bringing in,
Revenue
9 million,
to offset. Yeah.
8 million or whatever of revenue for that to be kind of even, you know? We shouldn't lose money by contracting with the cities. That's kind of where I was coming from.
And see, the sheriff's is one of those mandated programs where we don't have a choice. We have to have a sheriff's
Public
office.
safety.
Yeah, I understand that, but it isn't just that one line.
But it's not like a business though, it's not like a business where you know, I suppose he could, if he wrote enough tickets, he could generate enough revenue to.
So, do you have, Ben, do you have another line item or anything here that you're looking at?
Well, not specifically, I just don't understand the whole thing, and it's very confusing because you throw all this stuff out vaguely, and maybe to sit down in a session with someone would make it more simple outside of the meeting.
Do you want to come up and maybe just explain it, and then you can maybe have some more questions? Maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea, you know, just to kind of come up and go through that particular, I call it my page 9, but.
Yeah, I figured out what page 9 is.
Well, I mean, she understands debits and credits, she understands that the revenues are less than the expenditures. I mean, it's hard for me to explain, government has certain revenues, certain fees that we charge, but we provide the service, so we're not gonna balance out.
We're not gonna make
That's why
money.
we've always had a levy.
Yep.
So, I mean, I could walk her through a particular department and show her how much we spend on bodies and related liabilities and supplies and travel and conferences and stuff like that.
So
But
the difference between these two amounts should be this amount.
Well, it is,
Is that right? So this is the overall. This is this right here.
right, this would be the operating expenses minus the revenues to get down to here. So.
But wouldn't that be the same as this number right here?
So
Isn't that what you're,
Yeah, so what we're doing here, so I'll show you these 2 pages. That way we don't have to flip back and forth. So this is the net change in the levy from the prior year. So no, that isn't going to be this answer here.
that's the net change? What does that mean?
So for example, the
That's
county
what you had
board.
extra?
No. The county
So you
board.
fell short.
No. The county board has no revenues, they just have expenses. So last year, we needed to raise that as part of our levy for the commissioners. This year, this is their expenses. So the levy for this year compared to last year is the difference here. So, right down here,
So where do you get this here? The difference between these two is what it looks to me like should be the difference between 15 and 16. The difference between these two numbers is what you need to come up with to make the budget.
no, that would be the increase in the levy, not the budget. This year is our budget. So our budget is $110 million, last year is $106 million.
Next year.
Right, next year. And then that minus revenues that we anticipate that we're gonna take in gets down to here.
So the difference between these two numbers is what you're gonna fall short on.
The difference between these two numbers and the difference between these two numbers is the difference in the levy, yes, that's correct. So if our expenses stay the same but our revenues go up, we're gonna need less levy.
Yep, so
That's
we need to
simple.
levy less money.
Simple accounting there.
That's what we don't have.
So in here, our expenses went up, this is implied that our revenues had decreased. I mean, this minus the revenues equals this number. So I'm not showing the revenues on this resolution. This is the resolution that they'll adopt.
So general revenue, that doesn't mean revenue?
General revenue is our general government, which is the coordinator, the commissioners, the auditor, treasurer, the assessor, several departments. It's not general revenue like in dollars. It's those departments that make up general revenue.
But it's not general revenue.
It's
So
not.
you call it general revenue, but it's not general revenue.
Right.
So hence the confusion.
Okay, there.
So let's just call it what it is. That would make it a lot easier, wouldn't it?
There is one thing that I think this might help clarify things for next year too, or whenever, but we have the net levy for 2000,
Does everybody have the same problem I do, or am I
We-
alone here?
back to my page 9 though, but we have the net levy for 2015. In 2016, we don't have a column that says net levy, we just have the change. I mean, yeah, you could figure it out by, taking the change and either adding it or subtracting to the net levy of 2015. But I think it would be nice to have a column that would say net levy for 2016 and then have the difference. I think it would be beneficial.
That would be plain, that would be the nuts and bolts to people like me that live in the community, that just see your tax statement that says you gotta pay this much.
Commissioners, the resolution that you have in front of you does reflect the net levy for 15.
And what page is that one, Bob?
Yeah.
One prior to,
Two prior to that?
one prior.
One prior.
Page 4.
Oh, so it'd be... One prior?
Commissioner Burrell, it looks like the resolutions you normally adopt.
Okay.
I mean, it is confusing. when you're doing-
Go for it. Not that
Nine
one,
would be
no.
8, 7, it'd be page 6.
Yes, and let me reiterate, the PDF on the website is numbered. I apologize that the one that we printed out for tonight was not. Anyways, Commissioners, this does reflect, this is the one that kind of simplifies everything. It says, what is our net levy for 15, what is our net levy for 16?
Yep.
The page that is,
But on that page 9, I just think it would be nice, Bob, to just have a column that would just say net levy for 2016 as well. So then you can kind of look at each department, each, like, let's say I want to look at the county coordinator, I could go across and say, well, last year they were at 1,113,000, and this year I can take that number and add the 25 and come up with it, but it would be nice if I just saw that number besides.
we will constantly strive to improve this.
Okay.
This was a document that we provided to you during the budget process.
Yeah, we didn't catch
During the
it.
budget process, so we.
It's our fault too then,
Yeah,
I didn't catch it.
and I'm just noticing regarding her comment, on page 9, it does state general fund, and then on the page
Right.
6, Charlie?
Yeah,
5?
6.
6.
Commissioners, we're going to chalk this up.
This year one?
Remember, we had personnel services, and we corrected that to say personnel services.
General
Again,
fund
we'll
and
correct that for
general
for
revenue.
verbiage.
Yeah, that way it's consistent throughout the whole thing.
So it'll say general fund.
Yeah, we have it in one spot, but not in another.
Yeah, so you've got this page here, and you've got this page here.
They're not lined up side by side. I think that's just another indication that what we printed for tonight were the separate pages. They should have been numbered.
And can I see the numbers on this page, and do they equate to the numbers on this page? Net taxable levy. Where's the net taxable levy on this page that shows me the total, and then I can look upwards to the detail?
It's in this column here that's not printed. So you will see that,
What?
all right, Commissioners.
Actually,
Is this something you need to have an appointment with Bob to try to answer your questions here?
Well, possibly, but again, I'm wondering if am I the only person who doesn't understand a lot of this? This is a lot of good information. I'm not denying that at all, but again, I'm swimming. How does that equate to my tax proposed amount, you know?
Do you mind, obviously you're here because you got a letter in the mail and you're concerned about your increase from this year to next year?
I'm always concerned about the increase because I don't get increases like everybody, like the county does.
Okay.
You know, my taxes are gonna go up significantly based on my income, and it might not mean diddly squat in the grand scheme of these numbers, but to me, it's huge.
Okay, now the question is did your value on your property go up? or-
I guess just what is the increase in your property tax or?
or
That's
value?
a couple $100 a year, and for me, that's a lot of money.
Okay, is that overall or the county portion?
That's overall.
Okay, so now you gotta break it down, like on my tax statement, I brought
No,
mine.
believe me, I'm gonna be going to the next meeting as
Correct,
well,
but-
but to
but-
me, it's the total.
Yeah, but the way I look at it, because as a former mayor and got through this, I mean, if it went up $100, but your county portion didn't go up at all,
No, it did.
you know, but
Actually, the county portion went up more than than all of it.
what did your value do? Because if your value stayed the same, Your county portion should not have gone up.
That's the other thing, is
Or
how do you
classification.
determine how my value goes up and down?
That's the assessor's value based on sales, that because the state makes them appraise a
Yeah, my
property
value
90
went
to
up
100.
considerably.
That's where the difference is.
And then there's this homestead exclusion, which totally throws me off, because if it was a not homestead, it would have even a bigger impact, but, so, you know, a lot of that is just very confusing, I think, to at least me.
The question is, how many dollars did the value go up?
The value went up about $22,000,
Okay.
From what to what?
from 193 to 215.
Okay.
So there's a 10%, over a 10% increase there, so there's.
And then the county portion of your tax bill, keep in mind, that is public information. If I had a laptop in there, I could pull it
Oh,
out.
yeah, I'm not, I'm
Okay.
giving you
Just-
the
yeah,
information.
Because some people get.
Oh, it's right here. Anybody want to see it?
No, that's why I brought mine in case
Yeah.
you want to see it, okay? So your, what?
So my county tax went up about $85,
Okay.
From what, how much to how much?
from 705 to 789.
So a little over about 11%, so basically your increase is associated with your increase in value
Value.
is what it is.
Because what was that, when your value goes up, your exclusions, or what was that? Exemption, exclusions, whatever was Tammy saying?
Market value exclusion.
Market value exclusions go down.
So you're telling me that if I go to a realtor, I'll be able to sell my house for that much? That's what they'll value it at. And I know that's not true.
In theory, yes.
In theory. Yeah, that's a really good word.
In theory. Okay,
which
keep in
is-
mind with the
which is-
assessor's
means
office.
nothing.
The assessor's office has to be state mandated between 90 and 105% of value, and they strive pretty close. We're sitting at, what, 98 point something or other percent of true market value overall. That's pretty darn good in this state compared to other places. So the market, like I said, it can fluctuate consistently. Interest rates,
I know because when the 2008 bubble hit, which is when I purchased, they told me that my tax rates would catch up with me and go down, and that's never happened.
What did
It's
you pay
always
for-
gone up.
What did you pay for your house and what year?
In 2008,
And how much?
I got a really lowball amount and I paid 200. Well, just a little over, about
Before
205.
or after things broke?
08 is after it broke.
You know, it was right at the beginning of
Yeah,
'08, so
cusp.
really, I don't have any idea how that factors, I mean, you know, the wave of it.
Third quarter of 7 is when it started tailing.
So, because it's never gone down like they said, when my first year I got in, my taxes almost doubled, because supposedly the rates all went up, and then they went down, and then that never happened, because my rates never have gone down.
Yeah.
It's never caught up in, 7 years.
I'm
They said
trying
it's
to-
a 3-year
And
backlog.
you're in Annandale?
Yeah.
Your school district just did a.
I know, I was
referendum
there,
not
I
that long
voted
ago.
on it.
You're paying pretty big there.
Too big. I'm gonna be there tomorrow.
Well, I'm trying to understand why somebody would have told you that your taxes would go down or it would catch up. I'm trying to figure out that statement.
I
Well,
called the
nobody here
office.
said that.
I called the office and said, why did my taxes just double? And they said because the 2.5 years that they're behind in the rates and the value of everything, and it'll catch up. I know,
It's only 1 year in arrears from what the value is.
well, they told me it was 3 on the phone.
So you're saying that they told you your value would actually go down
And
from what you bought it, but the value never went down?
that the taxes would catch up because of that, right.
Well, the taxes are always based off the value of your property.
Exactly. And so that's what the whole conversation was,
So that the value of your property would go down.
because then the taxes would go down.
Right.
Yeah.
So the value of your property never went down?
The value and the
2008?
taxes have never gone down.
The value?
Right. Well, I equate the two.
But you can't.
Yeah.
Well, because the taxes are based on the value of your property, so they should equate.
The taxes, in part.
Amongst other
The other part
factors.
is the local levies, what they charge for their
Yes.
cost of business. Keep in mind, I also want the commissioners that sat here before us were very frugal. Wright County sits in per capita spending where the 10th largest county. We're 86th out of 87th in per capita spending, so we're way down at the bottom. We're not like other counties at all. And they've been very frugal through the years. They are not just collecting money for the sake of collecting money. So the county portion of this bill, you can go on the, what's the state, was it Auditor's website?
State auditors.
And you can see where Wright County ranks, and we're, as far as what we charge for our citizens, we're way down at the bottom, which is good for us that live here, because it's showing that we're being real frugal with the dollar. But as far as your school and your city or your township, those can fluctuate on a bond issue on anything. And Annandale, they just did a bond issue not that long ago with a school, didn't they?
Yeah, just a couple years ago, and they're already kicking in another one. I'm going to be there tomorrow, believe me. I'm not too happy about that.
I've heard more from Annandale people that they're kind of upset. It just did it, now the school's full again. What happened?
Yeah, I'd like to go audit that whole vote, too. I don't know if that's
So,
possible.
but that's,
I'm sure I've taken up way more time than I should have, but...
well, that's, you're 2 minutes and 59 seconds right now.
All right. But it's frustrating to me as a citizen to constantly see it just up and up and up and up. I mean, where does it stop? I can't spend more than I bring in. So, you know, to just say that we need more money so we get more money, that's frustrating. I think it's frustrating for everybody.
It's, yeah. But most of the time when people see the big increase, either the valuation, the change classification, the value went up quite a bit, or somebody did a referendum like a school bond came. Where Mark and I, we are in the STMA school district. We're the second highest bond debt in the state. We're now at $170-some million. We were at $200 million
And
in
again,
bond
debt, that means they owe money, right?
Yes, we pay
And
every
how
year.
absurd is that?
Yeah,
But it's a
No.
school.
it's the school.
There's no income,
Yeah,
you know, so.
it's all expense.
And
There is an income. The state gives money for every student that you have.
yeah, but it's not equal.
Well, but then they're spending too much. So
No.
that's neither here nor there.
You're right.
You know,
That's a
you
conversation.
can't
for
compare
another
apples
day.
and oranges, you know, and
Yeah.
even to compare our county with other counties is to compare me with my neighbor, which we're not supposed to do. We do what we can here in our little thing and not say we're better than others. So,
Well, we are better than others because we're the right county. But the thing is, based on what the state tells us we have to do with human services and the sheriffs and all that sort of stuff, we can compare ourselves to other counties because they have to do the same mandates that we do. So the discretionary spending we have is very minimal.
well, maybe I just need to come in and talk to somebody in your
Yeah, that
office
would be,
about this more
hopefully get your
detailed
questions answered
so
there
that I
so you
can
can.
understand it better.
And we do want to help people understand it better. We want to make it as simple as possible. Just
This
like,
is not simple.
well,
I'm an accountant, and this is not simple.
and, you know, maybe you can help them figure out an easier way to show it. But we agree that page numbers are very critical, and we've had that conversation multiple times.
Yeah, I agree. So, okay, well, thank you. I don't know what else to say, but I need
Okay,
to tomorrow.
well, thank you.
I told you it would be nice though, didn't I?
Is there anybody else that wishes to speak on this? Okay, being that there's no other public comment, coordinator, where do we go from here?
Just a brief comment that following tonight's meeting, our next action on the budget will be at the December 15th board meeting, at which point we'll adopt our final levy, which will then be certified by the state. So I have no other comments at this time, and hearing no other members of the public wishing to speak unless there's further comment from the board.
Any comments?
We'll start down with Chris.
I have no more comments, Mr. Chair, and I appreciate your concerns and your questions because it is confusing, a lot of it, and it takes a while to absorb it all and to figure out what all the columns mean, and, you know, we've been doing this for months, so it's a little bit easier for us to look at that and it makes sense, but it is complex, so thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, just in defense of Bob and others who create these documents, I've been here long enough to see when we've had stuff pretty general and vague and simple, and there's a demand for more information, more in-depth in that, and then that kind of creates more, you know what I mean? And I've kind of seen the pendulum swing every way, so it's challenging with a $106 million budget to necessarily guess the best way to present this, because you can present a lot and really overwhelm folks. Then you can present it in a more generic, simple way, and then the suggestion is that, well, everything's being hidden because you're just giving us these big numbers and you're not giving us any specifics, so it can be a challenge.
And everyone can look to see what the details are for more broken down too, so.
I mean,
we get.
here's an annual budget right here, and you can walk out the door with it if you want to see each line item. I'd be happy to give you one from 14, and you can see exactly how it works down to the nuts and bolts.
And just,
You know, no, and like I said, I'm not taking nothing away, but I've kind of, I've heard, over the years, we've modified and tried to adjust, and, it's, when you got a $106 million budget and you have the different programs we have, there's an inherent complication that comes with it. And for you to come in like this and I'm not suggesting you are, but I have sympathy for the fact that you would feel overwhelmed, because who wouldn't?
Right.
Who wouldn't? But yet, in defense of Bob and Lee, I don't know that I could sit down and come up with, well, this is an easy way to make it simple, so someone's gonna come in off the street that doesn't deal with this every day and now understand it. I mean, that's a challenge.
the other thing, keep in mind with every line item in every department, we go over every single line item, all down the list, from the assessor, every line all the way through.
They spend on copies, what they spend on postage, what they spend on, yep.
You know, so.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, I just want to alert you and the public that our detailed budget is out on our website.
Yep.
So if you want to look at any department, you'll see every single line item that's in there, so we do.
And then you also post this one.
Plus, we post the monthly how are we doing report. But the
Budget
preliminary
versus
budget is out
actual.
there.
Yep.
And I took the comments tonight as saying, hey, maybe we could try to simplify this, but still provide as much detail as we can, so.
Yeah, I don't know, I guess, you have to provide both for those that want more.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And as a business owner, it frustrates me. As a business owner, a homeowner, my business property taxes actually went down from the county. And it goes back to this complex formula, which is why I'd asked Bob to have it in here, on how the state defines things. I'd have no problem with my taxes staying the same, but it goes up one year and it goes down the other, which, as a business owner, gets frustrating. I mean, I love when it goes down, but now next year it'll go back up. And it has to do with these stupid property tax variations that they have. Pardon? Yeah, and that's why we asked Bob to provide this information, so people can see how the state deals with it. And the other reason why we have to build software, because we can't buy off the shelf software, because there's very few states that have such a convoluted, complicated system.
I think
for
we're about,
property
I think we're for the top, aren't we?
We're number one.
Ours is the most complicated.
That's not where you want to be number one, it's a complicated tax system.
Just my closing comment, and maybe it was Catherine, maybe you'd appreciate this too, but I wish that when we have,
Christmas time, huh?
I don't have duck feet.
It's not under the
But
tree.
when they do an estimated market value, and it's supposed to be from 90 to 105.
95.
Okay, so then when they come up with that number, and I just think that somebody should be required to say, you know what, I'll take 10% off of that price and you can buy it. Because I'll walk away from my place right now for take 10% off that. I was out to our township, because I'm in Woodland Township. I went out there and I said, any of you guys right here, it's for sale. I'll give that to you for the taxable market value, which was much cheaper than the estimated market value. No one pulled out their checkbook.
What's
And I
the value of that, Charlie? And tell me what you got there?
A little over 500,000.
How many acres in a house?
50 in a house. It's for sale if you want it.
50 in a house?
I can't move there, I'd be outside of my district, I'd be taken off the board.
Well, next year you can.
But then, the other thing though too, just the house, garage, and 1 acre is valued so high that,
Well, when you have a
I'd
5,000 square
even
foot
give you
house.
more than 10% off on that one.
Okay.
So, no, it's just, and then we get appraisals, and this is what I said, I'm in Woodland Township, well, I'm getting comparable sales from down in Franklin Township, just outside of Delano, which is way more preferred to live than out in the gravel road out in my township. But I'm gonna try it again next
Yeah,
next
yours is kind of a
time.
unique property, Charlie. There's not too many big monster houses out in the middle of the country there.
Lester?
But I think,
McMansion, yeah.
McMansion.
anyway. But I just think that there should be a law that they have to, some percentage under that somebody has to just say, we'll buy it for you.
Yeah. But the,
Talk to your state
I'm
representative.
gonna talk to my state rep about that, yeah.
so being that,
There was somebody else, Mr. Chair, that came in late. I don't know if they wanted to have anything to say. Did you? Okay.
Staff.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
okay, being that there's no other comments or anything, closing comments, if not,
Well,
motion
adjourn.
to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Delight, second by Commissioner Houston to adjourn. All those in favor?
Well,
Can I
why-
motion?
can I
Opposed?
discuss
Aye.
that?
Thanks for coming.
Catherine.